Link engaged.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the TeamSpeak Team Liquid StarCraft 2 Open. I am djWHEAT. Joining me is Chill. And what is up, brother? I am already loaded into Game 1, and we have got 3 ahead of us. How is it going?
It's going really well. I'm looking back at the bracket to take a look at what's gone down. I guess this started at like 7 a.m. this morning, my time. Been going on for quite a while, and with DreamHack going on right now, it looks like there's a couple big names missing from here. And if we look at the final 4, you know, this is the time for some unknowns to really shine.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you brought that point up, Jill, because one of the things that I really like about the Team Liquid StarCraft 2 Opens as they've occurred is that it's given a chance for some of these players who are very high up on the ladder to get some really decent and deep tournament experience, possibly even winning some. You know, you even look at a guy like Select who took that success and sort of wrote it into his live competitions. Of course, he didn't qualify for GSL 3, but you know, maybe next time. This seems to be the case here. You know, we've got 4 very good players, despite the fact that they may not be the regulars that you expect to see at every invite, at every open, et cetera, et cetera. And granted, they also beat a few big names on the way here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the top of the ladder. I see right off the bat we've got Liquid Hey Pro, the Zerg player, going up against a random player, Nurchio, and Nurchio actually took that and is now in the finals. So I'm excited to see a random player in the finals, and that's going to be series number 2, playing the Terran Envilol, who I'm not even familiar with that player either.
And yeah, I think his full name is Envious, and that's just Envy Lol is his nick on the site. But so Nurchio, this random player, apparently he's very vocal to his opponents as well. Chill, from what I understand.
Really?
Yeah, from what I understand, at one point when he defeated his opponent, he said in the replay, at some point, your one base all-ins are going to stop working. And another guy tried to, like, SCV rush in with some guys, and he was like, needed more SCVs. And so apparently this guy's, like, right up your alley, I think.
Oh, wow. Well, you just piqued my interest in a big way. So we have that to look forward to in series number 2. But the first series is going to be Fuzer against JoJo. 2, I guess, really unknown players unless you're deep in the European scene.
You know, I'm incredibly deep in the European scene, Joe. I know that Joe, our Protoss, is from Denmark, and that Fuzer, our Terran, is from Finland. And Fuzer, he 2-0'd a drafter who is a former TL Open semifinalist and one of the other TL Opens that we covered. In a TVT, this is the drafter game, where both games were actually really, really close. They started off with like 100+ food armies, and at the end they had like less than 30 supply at the end. It was like a fight for your life type thing, and exactly what you'd expect for, you know, to come out of someone facing off a fairly decent player trying to get here to the semifinals. And Denmark, all we really know is that he's literally named Joe, and he beat Zion, who's a pretty good Belgian Zerg. Zion is 2700. This P is mid-2000s. So that's what I know, thanks to the investigative skills of the Team Liquid crew. They were all over that. They sent it to me and made me look like a genius. Even though,
and you know, one thing that's interesting with this race dynamic, in kind of a point in the game where people are questioning, is Zerg imbalanced? Well, we've got 3 non-Zergs and a random who may spawn Zerg, but no solid Zergs in the finals.
I know,
of
and
this
it
series.
sucks. And it sucks. Oh, wait, no, I'm just kidding.
But you know, if you look at the Blizzard rankings, or I guess the Blizzard percentages of matchups, there's a huge disparity. You know, Zerg is killing it in Asia and North America, but it's actually kind of Terran land over in Europe, with Zerg really not doing too well over there.
And we might see Terran land still in the finals. So are you ready to get the game 1 started here?
I'm ready. I'm loaded up.
All right. Let's do it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And I'll start out here. Joe, our very friendly Protoss player in the green, gives a djWHEAT at the begin. He says, I'll give you revenge from DS Rack. Haha GL. So apparently maybe some history here. I don't know.
Some past history going on.
We've got Joe, our Protoss, spawning there in the south position, the 6 o'clock position, and that at the 12 o'clock position we've got our red Terran Fuzer spawning there at the 12 o'clock.
And you know, as we said, this is on the European server. Whoa, this is a little strange. Joe putting his first pylon in between the two Vespian geysers. That's something you really don't see too often. So I'm going to be interested to see what is going on with that. But as we talked about on the European server, there's still a bit of disparity between the servers in the playstyle. Terrans in Europe still really digging the Marauder. It's not uncommon to see 5-racks Marauder after expansion from European Terrans, whereas I guess the other servers are kind of moving on to more Marine and drop-based plays, even Banshees. So it's going to be interesting to come over to the European server for just a bit for this tournament and see how they play differently.
All right, well, I was actually thinking he might put his gateway right here in some sort of a choke attempt, but he actually put it back here. We'll see what he goes next, but here comes the SCV from Fuzer making his way into the base of the Protoss. Gonna look in here and be like, oh my God, what is wait a second, wait, here's the pilot. Okay, whoa, whew. There's the gateway. So having a little bit of a heart attack there as you saw him move around. At the same time, we're going to have Joe make his way into the Terran base. And he's going to see exactly what he kind of expected to see with the barracks about ready to finish. And he will go on and just start ticking away at that SCV. But yeah, he's going to put that forward pylon up. Joe is. He's also got a gas coming up right now.
And he actually lost his scouting probe. Fuzer pulled every SCV on the mineral line and just gang-banged out that probe, so no scouting information now. And we have a second barracks going up for Fuzer at the third of Joe's third expansion. And this could be devastating if he does any sort of aggressive play, the Protoss player. We see a tech lab going on at home while the orbital command comes up. Marauder going out. I'm going to expect to see concussive shells, but there's a possibility of stim pack if he really wants to wait that long. Still no research going on at 50 gas, so it may be a stim pack Marine Marauder rush coming up here.
All right, so we do have a gateway going down, cybernetics core as well. Still nothing out of this gateway. Finally, we've got a stalker building, and you can see he's completed that wall off, so maybe that's nice there. I don't know, just in case any sort of Hellion harass that might come in from the back. We see that happen a lot. So here we go. SCV is going to move forward, and we've got also a tech lab down on this one. So,
oh wow,
are we just going to get a mass of Marauders to start this Terran off and go for a real quick push?
You know, I like the idea of the proxy racks for a quick rush, but the rush distance from main to main is just so far. You're going to get a lot of units out of the second racks Fuzer is, but the one coming out of his main is just going to take so long to reinforce. And we see now he was going for concussive shells. It has completed. And the Stalker actually getting tagged by this Marauder. For some reason not attacking. And that's going to be a bad trade for Joe as he doesn't have the production to keep up with this. Pulling probes to deal with this actually. Not too sure about that move.
Wow. Well, he's got a second Stalker out now. A third gateway is going to go down. And he is going to have 3 Marauders here, and this is going to be pretty deadly here. They're going to immediately go after this pylon, but yeah, he's going to go after this pylon, power this down, and he's got, of course, a pylon going up in the back. This one Stalker knows that he's just going to get crushed against them, so trying to get this second, actually looks like a sentry coming out. Going to try to get a surround with the probes here, and he will manage to get one. And but he has given up a lot of economy. In comes yet another Marauder. We have another one just now starting to leave the base. Great force field trapping yet another one up there, but oh my God, he's trying to squeeze through, but he can't quite do it.
You know, actually Joe is doing pretty well here despite losing a little bit of mining time. He's got his 3 gateways up, turning them into warp gates, putting a Stargate actually up. So clearly going to switch into Void Phase to try to punish this. Meanwhile, it looks like this is not an all-in. There goes a force field again, trapping one Marauder with 2 Stalkers backing off. Looks like the Sentry is actually going to live, as Fuzer did not target the damaged Sentry, so it gets to walk away and live another day. 3 Marauders still out here, but Fuzer is expanding behind. Moving in again, he's really playing dangerously here. Picks off that Sentry and tries to get away, kiting on the Zealot just a little bit there. We've got 3 Marauders out holding it down, and looks like Fuzer decides to give up his position. landing or lifting that racks off and probably going to float it home. Meanwhile, he's got his expansion almost complete, just completing right now, following up with the engineering bay and 2 more barracks in his main base. So a really nice position actually for Fuzer.
Yeah, I'm curious to know if Joe is going to figure out anytime soon that Barrett is going to float off, so we'll probably see that tech lab eventually and know something is up. And, you know, I think that something came into play exactly like what you talked about, Chill, where the reinforcing Marauders from the back, you know, they took quite a while to get here, so he did definitely have to play with his units a little bit differently. I'm not sure about not just charging in. I think that he probably could have done a little bit more damage once he got up there. There was still time for that. For that sentry to come out, and there was just that one stalker. So Joe did play that one well, and what was surprising to me is that he didn't go down hugely on economy. But where he's got to be careful about now is, of course, with this expansion up for the Terran, it could mean a real quick surge of an army.
Yeah, if you actually bring up the income tab, you can see Joe is actually ahead in harvesters, and the income is about the same. Unfortunately, when you're dealing with 2 orbital commands, you're not really going to be able to keep up with that. 2 Phoenixes actually out for Joe as he's going to harass a little bit, picking up a scouting SCV. Now moving in, he's going to pick up a few SCVs here, doing some harassment. I'm not sure I like revealing the Phoenixes before you get kind of a critical mass looking to attack with them. He could pick up some mules if he has another graviton beam, which he does not. So just floating around, getting some scouting, and looks like he's going to expand behind this. And just sitting on the 3 warp gates is Joe.
Yeah, I'm surprised he kind of gave up the Phoenixes too, but you know, he can quickly just switch out of that too. I don't know, he's got still Phoenixes making. We'll have to see how many he actually makes. Nexus is down. He's going to also add a gas on there. He's got a pretty nice sized army, recovering well from that initial attack. A few zealots, a couple of stalkers, and a handful of sentries in there as well. And again, just continuing to get these zealots out there. The robo facility does go down, and up in the front of the Terran base, you can see we've got 2 bunkers just there for protection, and we've got that barracks that was in the far front now in the back. As these Phoenix just continue to check things out, pretty good coverage though by the Terran at this point.
You know, I take back my comment of him showing the Phoenixes, because clearly he's not looking to use these as some sort of army breaking unit. He's actually using them as a harassment unit. Phoenix flying into Stim Marines, getting taken out as a reinforcement, but actually dealing a lot of Stim damage there, which is something to think about. But these Phoenixes are doing quite a bit of harassment. If we look at the army tab, we can see Joe's been ahead in supply for quite some time. Fuzer is catching up, but just harassing the SCVs continually. If he doesn't set himself too far behind and die to this mid-game push, it's going to really help him out as he pushes into the later game.
And he basically gave up trying to deal with this harassment as he moves his army out. He's got a good-sized army, several Marauders and a few Marines in there as well, and he's got more units there waiting to reinforce. Now, out in the front, I would also have to say that Joe's got a pretty decent army to deal with just that. Let's see from the production tab. He doesn't have anything coming out of this robotics facility. And here we go. Here's the big battle at the front. We do have force fields cutting off the reinforcements, and zealots do get in there and do a ton of damage. Probes are also going to come out, and he'll deal with the backside of the army while the probes now return back. He is dishing out some decent damage, but the Marauders from the back may be exactly what he needs. Joe is going to have to retreat, and he's got only a couple of stalkers. Holy moly.
Oh my god, I feel like Joe could have held that if his force fields were just a little bit better. But the nice kiting action of Fuzer and splitting up his army, he's now completely broken that after all his units deep in the red. Phoenix is going to come back and cut off the escaping reinforcements, and the Zealot's going to clean it up. But let's look at the income tab and see how much damage was really done. The harvester count for Joe, the Protoss player, at 22. Meanwhile, 32 for Fuzer. So it looks like just giving up on the harassment and hitting that mid-game timing where the Phoenixes could not be exploited worked out really well in Fuzer's favor in this case.
And look at Fuzer's, look at this just trickling line. It's like the tears of the Protoss that are just trickling down here towards his base. I mean, there are a massive amount of reinforcements, and he knows that all he has to do right now is push and continue up those reinforcements, moving in fairly early, taking out 2 sentries right away, focus firing that Immortal. He will go down so easy. Probes come out, and even these Phoenixes are probably going to go down next. They will gracefully get away, but now they'll move in. You see absolutely nothing here mining except for a few guys on gas, and in comes reinforcements from the back. This has got to be GG right here. I can't imagine anything. I can't imagine anything else other than that. You can see more reinforcements coming down.
Yeah, with the natural completely broken, and oh my god, looking on the mini-map, just like you said, it's raining blood on the mini-map down to Joe's natural. Natural Nexus going down, and it looks like Fuzer's just going to drive straight up the ramp, probably take out this Immortal. Nice force field, cutting off reinforcements there, but the Immortal's got to get to work. And look at this jam of units just struggling to get up the ramp and deal with this Immortal, just bloodthirsty. And they're probably going to get up there, stim, and clean up the rest of this game for Joe. And it looks like Fuzer is going to go into Game 2 with a 1-0 lead in this series.
Yeah, there it is. GG, well played. And the Protoss, although looking pretty decent there. Now they're figuring out who picks inside the replay. It makes it that much more real. So there you go. Game 1 will go to Fuzer, the Terran. What do you think about that? Your thoughts overall?
I think the Protoss player Joe handled the rush, I guess, as well as he could have, but the transitioning into Phoenixes probably not something I would have really recommended. He should have scouted, saw that the expansion was going down, and then expanded himself or done a build that really looks to break that expansion, like putting down a 4th warp gate and just cranking out chrono boosted Sentry Zealot and trying to break the natural. Going Phoenix is nice, one base on one base, but I think that was his key critical mistake in that match.
So just too many. I mean, although he got some good scouting information, the harass just didn't quite cut it.
Yeah, you know, you reach this point where you've invested money and you'll get your return, but it takes a while to get that return back. And the return would have been the crippled economy of the Terran player going into the late game. But what Fuzer did was just not even deal with the harassment, realize I have a bigger army at this moment,
right,
and just attack. And again, as I said, Joe, when he dealt with that kind of final battle, pushing into the natural, he had enough sentries that he could have created a wall to wall off, split the army in half, and then created a second wall to stop the reinforcements from running up the ramp to the right. But just a little slow execution there and a little sloppy play let the Terran escape with half of his army up the right ramp. And then when he reunited with the reinforcements from both sides, it was just not enough units for the Protoss player. So I think that was a battle he could have won, but just not executed as well as he had to.